Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Jamie Miller, PGA teaching professional, and today I'm going to be talking to you about something that's often overlooked in the golf swing, and that is pressure shift. So pressure shift to me means the way that you apply forces into the ground, compared to weight shift, which means to me where you move your center of mass throughout the golf swing. Now the reason we're going to focus on this is because I often find that if we can get people moving their pressure in a better way, they can improve the way they move the golf club, they can be more efficient with the golf swing, and it can really improve their ball striking as well. So unfortunately, I don't have the capability yet of measuring the pressure throughout the golf swing. However, I've got some really simple ideas that I often use to help people throughout lessons to change the way the pressure shifts in the golf swing. These changes in pressure tend to lead to better ball striking, but also tend to lead to a change in club path, as well as a little bit more ball speed, club head speed, without having to put in too much extra force in the golf swing. And let's talk about how we do that. The way that people often think about weight shift in the golf swing is thinking about it very laterally, so our weight goes back and our weight goes forwards. There's actually a lot more to it than that. We do have some lateral pressure shift. We also have some vertical pressure shift, as well as some torque pressure shift, so twisting into the ground. And when we can get the combination of those three working well, that's when we see changes happen in the golf swing. And the way I like people to go about moving their pressure in the golf swing is they're going to start off with the pressure into their lead leg. So as they start to the golf ball, the pressure would be, it's not quite right, the pressure would be in the lead leg. Then as they swing the club back, they put the pressure from that lead leg to their trail leg until the club head gets sort of roughly to about parallel with the ground. From that point onwards, as the club head starts to go up, our pressure is going to start shifting back towards the balls of our lead foot. From there, when we get sort of to the top, is when we're going to start to push and explode out of that, out of our lead foot, the balls of our lead foot. We're going to push them to the ground. That's going to get this hip pushing back behind us and start the correct sequence of the down swing. And this pressure is always changing the golf swing. So we move from our lead foot to our trail foot, back to our lead foot, and it's all happening very quickly. And as we start pushing out of our lead foot, we're actually going to start putting some pressure back into our trail foot as well. Even though it might look like our weight has shifted all to our left foot, there's still some pressure in our trail foot, leading to the point where we finish up. Most of the pressure is going to be in our lead foot again, a little bit of pressure in our trail foot. We finish up in this nice twisted position here with the momentum of the club dragging our body through as we go. Getting your body to put pressure into the right place at the right time in the golf swing can be difficult, but I've got a couple of drills I like to use with people to try and make it a bit more simple. So the first drill I'm going to show you is a little bit more complicated than the second drill. It also requires a little bit of coordination, so I would suggest doing it step by step the first couple of times you do it to try and get the sequencing correct in your head before going on and putting a bit more speed and power into the actual drill itself. So to start off with this drill, we're going to have our feet nice and close together. We have the club lifted off the ground slightly, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to push the club forward towards our target. Now as we're doing this push force towards the target, we're going to lift this left back foot off and take a step backwards. And the reason we do this is that push forward of the club gets pressure into our lead leg, so we can then push into our trail leg, just like we would in the golf swing. So to put it together, we go forwards and back. Now the pressure is starting to move towards my trail foot. What I'm going to start to do is pull the club back to around about hip high. Once I get to hip high, I'm going to lift my lead leg off the ground like so, and then let it fall back down towards the ground, slightly ahead of where it was before. As we're doing that, I want to be conscious that when I fall, I'm falling into the balls of my foot there. Okay, that's going to come in handy later on in the golf swing. From this point on, we're going to start just letting ourselves continue to fall towards the lead side, and as we swing the club back, and then from there, we're going to fire out into a normal golf finish. So one more time, feet quite close together, club goes forward and foot goes back. Then from there, we're going to swing the club back to about hip high. Roughly when the club gets about hip high, we're going to lift that lead leg off the ground, continue the backswing, and then fire through. Once again, when we lift that lead leg off the ground and let it fall back onto the ground, we're trying to let it fall onto the balls of the feet. When we're landing on the balls of our feet, we're putting pressure into the ground, kind of at an angle like so. And it's that pressure into the ground on that angle that pushes us back out of the ground, getting our hips to spin open like we want to see in the golf swing. When you get comfortable with that kind of sequence, what you're going to do is you're going to start putting it all together in one motion. Practice swings, starting off by just swinging into the air. Then you're going to start trying to make it a bit more realistic. You're going to start trying to hit the ground at the right time. And the final evolution of that drill is going to be with the golf ball. Now, when we're doing this with the golf ball, we're not worried about strike because obviously we start off with the club on the ground. We're moving a lot more than we used to. We're just trying to make contact with the golf ball and get the feeling of what it feels like to move our body in a much more extreme manner and make contact with the golf ball. So that should look something like this. So feet once again together. You can lift the club off the ground, forwards and back at the same time. Try that again. Lot to think about and talk there. So you're going forward and back at the same time, falling into our front foot, a lead foot, and striking the golf ball as best we can. So the whole idea there is not necessarily about the strike, it's about what it feels like to make sure our pressure is moving in the correct way and what it feels like to make contact with our pressure moving in the right way when we do it. Let's move on to the last one. So this last drill I would use with people who tend to shift their pressure quite well in the golf swing, but they don't maybe do it at the right time. So this is more of a sequencing drill that I try to use with people to get them to feel the correct way that the body should move in the golf swing while sequencing it up with the pressure in the golf swing as well. So unlike the first drill, we're going to start in our normal golf posture. Once again, we're going to start without a golf ball. We're going to push the club forwards. There's no stepping involved in this one. We just push the club forwards to create a bit of momentum because we want to have the club head be moving. It makes it feel slightly heavier, which in my opinion makes it easier to feel the differences in the sequencing between a normal golf swing and this practice golf swing that we're trying to do here. So the club goes forwards, and once again, as we swing the club back, when we get to about this point, so once again hip high, what we're going to try and do is feel like our lead leg comes off the ground, like so, just in a very small manner. It's just a little lift up off the ground and then fall back to the ground. Once again, when we fall back to the ground, we're going to feel like the pressure goes into the ball of our feet so we can push out of the ground in the correct way. We're going to carry on with the swing and then have a small little jump out of the ground when we try and hit the ground. Okay, let me demonstrate that one so it makes a bit more sense. So again, normal golf posture, club goes forwards, club goes back. When I get to that point, my foot's going to come off the ground and I'm going to fall into that lead leg. There's a very small jump in the downswing there. That's just to try and help me feel the pressure push back in the downswing, the pressure that we're pushing out of the ground in the right way to get those hips opening up in the downswing. And just like we were doing before with the previous drill, we're going to do that in stages. We're going to do it without a golf ball. We're going to do it where we make contact with the ground, and then we're going to do it when we make contact with the golf ball. Now, what we really kind of want to feel is that as we swing in the club back and our pressure is falling to that lead leg, so left leg for a right-handed golfer, you're actually going to sort of feel like the club is getting left behind as you're starting to turn back towards target side. That's creating a stretch in your body, which is helping you sequence the swing in a much better manner. And this does tend to lead to better club path movements as well. So if you're someone who has a big slice, it does tend to straighten up that club path, so we get less differentiation between club path and club face, meaning the ball should curve, but still curve, but hopefully much less. So once again, this final drill, do it with the golf ball now. One slight variation we can use on this drill is that if you're someone who's finding it hard to feel that stretch, what I would like people to do is when they push the club forward, as soon as they start bringing that club back, they let that foot come off the ground so you can feel that fall nice and early, rather than waiting till the club sort of gets to about hip high. This just creates a bit more time for them to feel that stretch in the downswing, rather than if people start thinking about stuff here, and they tend to probably start doing it up here. So we're just giving ourselves a bit more time to create that feeling. So once again, putting it all together, golf ball there. Going to have to lift the club up above the golf ball on this one. Club goes forwards. And you're really feeling like on the way down, pushing out of the balls of your feet, almost like you're trying to jump up and out of the ground. Those were two of my favorite drills when it comes to teaching people about pressure shift in the golf swing. Try them out. Let me know how you get on. See if they help your game. See if they help your ball striking. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about today in the video, please post them in the comments. If you'd like me to go a bit more in depth on anything we spoke about, again, post in the comments. If there's any more subjects like this that you'd like me to go in depth on as well, again, post in the comments. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon.